Our problem is that a teacher is collecting the following data regarding the number of hours studied, which is X, and the number of correct answers out of 20, which is Y.
The teacher wants to show the students a trend line so they can see the effect of studying on their test grades. Write and graph the equation of a line that shows the trend for hours students spent studying as your X versus the number of correct responses as your Y. So you'll create this line and write an equation which will end up being Y equals 2X plus 2 because this line intersects with the Y-axis at 2.
So next, the teacher wants to know what the trend line would look like if she applied a 3-point curve. Find the transformation for that trend line and write and graph the new equation. Also note that some students will receive over a 20 out of 20 with a 3-point curve. So all you have to do is you have to take your graph and move it up 3 points to show that there's a 3-point curve. This will add 3 to your y-intercept.
For part B of this problem, you'll fill in the third column with how many each student missed using how many they got correct. The teacher wants to know what the trend line would look like for the test scores if instead of showing the number that the students got correct, it showed how many they got wrong. Determine the transformation and write a graph for the new equation. So once you plot the points with your new y coordinates being how many they got wrong, you'll transform these points across the x equals 4 line. This equation is y equals negative 2x plus 18 and shows incorrect answers versus hours studied. Note that we used x equals 4 as our transformation line because it shows incorrect and correct are the same at this line.
So next, the teacher is required to submit some sample data to administration, so she must list the individual scores of the students. Using the data in the graph and the table, create an arithmetic sequence for the test scores of the correct answers data. So here, we took our x values, which were the hours of studying, and plugged them into the formula for the arithmetic sequence, which is a sub n equals a sub 1 plus d times n. And we can't have d times n minus 1 because you can't have negative test scores. So once we plug this in to get our first few values of the arithmetic sequence, we got that our formula was a sub n equals 2n plus 2.
Now that you have the sequence, the teacher wants you to know the sum of all the test grades so she can compare it with other teachers. Create an arithmetic sigma notation equation and find the sum of all 10 using the correctly answered test scores. So in this sigma notation, 10 will be your n and k will be 0. 2 and 4 represent the first few terms in the sequence, 2n plus 2 representing the rest. Once you plug it into the formula, your sum will come out to be 110.
The covered objectives in this problem will be attached to our sheet.